There is a sacred, fleeting interval each morning that the vast majority of humanity squanders without the slightest realization of its immense spiritual value. In those very first moments of waking, when the mind still hovers in that gentle, unformed twilight between deep sleep and full worldly consciousness, a door stands wide open to the divine power. Emmet Fox devoted decades of his life to studying this precise moment, discovering that the first words a person speaks or thinks upon waking possess the absolute power to program the energy, circumstances, and spiritual vibration of their entire day. This is not a matter of magic, nor is it a comforting superstition. It is the conscious, deliberate application of verifiable spiritual principles that transform outward reality. In this delicate, transitional state between rest and waking life, the human mind is extraordinarily receptive. The rigid barriers of the critical, conscious mind, the part of you that argues, doubts, and rationalizes, have not yet fully activated. Because these defenses are down, the words you silently or audibly speak penetrate directly into the deepest levels of the subconscious mind. This is the exact laboratory where true spiritual demonstration occurs. Fox taught with absolute clarity that God is not a distant deity, sitting somewhere in the sky, waiting to be found in grand temples or through elaborate formal ceremonies. The divine presence dwells right at the center of your own being. It inhabits the interior of every human soul, and the moment of waking is the precise time when this inner connection can be activated with the greatest potency, power, and clarity. This automatic review of limitation is precisely what Emmet Fox identified as the single greatest obstacle to spiritual and material prosperity. When people pray from this state of mind, they pray from fear. They pray from a sense of desperation, essentially trying to persuade a reluctant God to intervene and grant them what they believe they are missing. Fox explained that this form of prayer is actually entirely destructive. It reinforces the condition of lack, because your mind is concentrating entirely on what you do not have, rather than recognizing what already exists in the spiritual realm. By begging and pleading, you are impressing the idea of scarcity deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind. Your mind is exactly like perfectly fertile soil. It does not judge the seed, it simply grows it. What you plant in that soil in the first moments of the day dictates exactly what will grow and manifest as the hours pass. If your first seeds are of fear, worry, anxiety, and limitation, the soil of your mind will faithfully produce a harvest of those exact conditions in your concrete, daily experiences. To illustrate this, Fox frequently shared the story of a woman in London who was laboring under severe, crushing financial limitation. She worked exceptionally long hours, yet her supply never seemed to meet her daily demands. She lived with a pervasive, heavy feeling that prosperity was simply meant for other people, never for her. No matter how hard she physically struggled, she remained trapped in the cycle of poverty. When she first began to learn the principles of Fox's scientific prayer, the very first instruction he gave her was to completely change the direction of her waking words. Instead of greeting the day with fearful thoughts of debt and exhaustion, she was strictly instructed to speak an affirmation of divine recognition before a single thought of her worldly problems could take root in her mind. She had to claim her spiritual inheritance the very second her eyes opened. By faithfully applying this single shift in consciousness, the results were astounding. In less than 3 months, this woman received a completely unexpected professional opportunity that permanently tripled her income. Fox emphasized that this was not a stroke of luck or a mere coincidence. It was the direct, lawful consequence of having changed the direction of her consciousness at the most crucial hour of the day. When the human mind actively aligns itself with divine abundance in the sacred interval of waking, the universe has no choice but to respond by reorganizing external circumstances to match that elevated spiritual vibration. The specific prayer that Emmet Fox taught his students to pronounce upon waking possesses a highly deliberate and exact structure. It is absolutely crucial to understand that this is not a petition. It is not a supplication, nor is it a desperate, fearful plea. Rather, it is a conscious, scientifically applied recognition of the spiritual reality that exists far beyond the temporary material appearances the visible world presents each day. The complete morning treatment consists of 4 distinct movements in consciousness, each designed to elevate the mind and align it with the divine flow. This opening statement is not mere religious poetry. It is a remarkably precise metaphysical declaration. It signifies that beyond any outward appearance of lack, debt, or insurmountable difficulty, The only true operating reality is the absolute good of the divine. By speaking these words with genuine understanding, the mind immediately begins to relativize its worldly troubles. The debts, the anxieties, and the interpersonal conflicts are instantly placed into their proper, diminished perspective when confronted with the truth that God is the sole operating force in existence. Fox emphatically instructed that this first part must be pronounced slowly, allowing the weight of each word to penetrate the consciousness. It is a spiritual truth that activates only when the mind accepts it with profound, unwavering conviction.